So 2024 is over. It is now 2025. And I don't think I've shown this off yet because I got it while I was in Italy, but I do have a tattoo that has tarot cards. And every year I draw one tarot card from the major arcana, and that's like my theme of the year. I did already draw 2025. I got the Emperor, in case you're wondering. But I was thinking, I think it would be fun if I did a tarot reading for just the year overall, what the year is gonna be like. And besides just that tarot reading, I have an oracle deck that's like made of dragons that I really like, so I want to draw one oracle card. And I also have, I don't know if they're technically oracle cards, but another like oracle type deck of fairy cards that I want to draw. Basically, I want to bring in the new year with a new and fun energy and just a little bit of magic. Now, I do want to say this up top, I'm not particularly good at tarot. I really got into tarot when I was with my last ex, who, if you guys follow me on TikTok, was incredibly abusive. After that, I've continued to play around with tarot and occasionally give myself readings. I'm just not nearly practiced enough to do it without like reading the little booklet that's provided. And I especially have a hard time connecting cards together, which a lot of really good tarot readers don't have that issue, I've found. It seems to be a practice thing and I just straight up don't have enough time to practice. However, I do find tarot really fun and interesting still, and I would like to do some more of it. Funnily enough, a few years ago I actually had a Twitch channel in which I read people's tarot, and it was actually doing really well. I was very close to being part of the partnership program, but I eventually just stopped doing Twitch altogether because every time I would get on Twitch and I would start a live stream, a lot of like really bigoted people would come into my streams and be just straight up harassing me. Specifically a lot of transphobic people, because I would have my pronouns in the bio because that's kind of a normal thing to do actually, and I would get a lot of people being really rude to me. And in all honesty, it completely killed any love that I had for Twitch. Just every time I would go on, I would be called all kinds of fun slurs and asked about very private information constantly. So I stopped doing tarot in videos and in live streams especially. I did some tarot stuff on TikTok for a while, but I haven't posted on TikTok in years. And I have done more of it personally for myself, but not nearly as much as I would like. But in 2025, I'm going to try and make a lot more changes to my life, and a lot of the changes I want to make are going to include a lot of self-reflection and self-growth. So why not start with tarot? I am a pretty skeptical person. I don't particularly believe in a lot of like zodiac and astrology stuff, even though it's so fun to read about and learn about. And so I think a lot of people who know me in real life would be confused that I like tarot as much as I do, because I take such a practical approach to everything in my life. And for me personally, tarot is not like an all-seeing, all-knowing, true fortune-telling tool. I know a lot of people use it that way. For me, I use tarot as a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-growth. Where do I want to be in 5 years? That kind of thing. It's a very open-ended kind of thought process. The cards themselves are pretty vague, and so I can look at a card and be like, this card is telling me I'm gonna have a career growth, and in my mind I can be like, okay, so I'm looking forward to career growth in my future. What can I do to achieve this goal? Not everyone uses tarot this way. This is just how I use it. Tarot has been incredibly helpful in the past of helping me decide things that I just am too afraid to. In the back of my mind, I'll know I want something, I'll know I'm trying to go for something, but I just can't reconcile that. And just like with astrology and like zodiacs and stuff, you can read whatever you want to out of it a lot of the time. And so I was able to be like, oh, well, the card said I had to quit my job, so even though I actually legitimately hated that job and had wanted to quit it for a long time, but just couldn't come up with a good enough excuse to me. I don't know, this is more stuff I should really talk to a therapist about, but therapy is expensive. I think it'll be fun to go ahead and start with the oracle cards, because I think oracle cards are really cute and really fun, and I really like the ones I have. They're very pretty, so I think we're gonna start with the oracle cards. These are my fairy cards. They're really small, they're really fun, they all rhyme. It's really interesting. I have talked about it briefly on my channel before, but I'm actually incredibly good at shuffling. When I was younger, I used to collect playing cards. My collection's actually right over there. I finally was able to get it out of storage when we moved into this house. But I'm actually incredibly skilled at shuffling cards. Not even because I played anything, but because it's fun. Oh yeah, you're supposed to, I haven't done this in a long time, can you tell? You're supposed to cleanse the energy off the cards. Specifically, what I'm looking for is theme of the year, or like what should I be paying attention to this year? Thoughts and ideas that I should keep in mind, or helpful advice, something that relates to the year coming coming up. Another thing that I have trouble with about tarot cards is my hands are really small. So you'll see later on, the tarot deck I picked is specifically like a quote-unquote travel size deck, and I way overuse this deck simply because the cards are smaller and they fit into my hands a lot better. Every other like normal size tarot deck is way too big for my hands, and it's really awkward. Funnily enough, oh, there's our card, it fell out. I'll just finish the story before I read it out. I was gonna say, funnily enough, growing up, I actually really very badly wanted to learn a lot of magic because I was a fucking nerd. I really badly wanted to be a magician, or at least practice magic, and I had so much trouble because my hands were too small to palm any cards. I legitimately just couldn't fit any card without you being able to see it in the palm of my hand. So there was so much magic that was immediately off the table. Okay, but enough of that sad backstory. This is gonna be our theme or idea or goal for 2025. This is our lovely card. Believe. Magic is there when you believe, so dream big of things you can achieve. Okay, so we're thinking big, we're thinking big moves, career goals. Funnily enough, this kind of goes hand in hand with the Emperor. Big ideas, making big moves, I'm in charge of my own destiny, like that kind of feel. So that's fun. And especially since I'm trying to get back into tarot and back into like journaling and like basically improving myself, I think this is a good one that falls really in line with the goals I already had planned, which is great. So the fairy cards are telling us that we need to believe in ourselves and that we're gonna make good and amazing progress in the next year, which is an amazingly positive message. And I know there's a lot of skepticism around tarot cards, but I will say when I was really thinking about breaking up with my abusive ex, one of the cards I kept drawing over and over again was the Three of Hearts. If you know, you know. Alright, let's move on to the Dragon Oracle cards. These cards are pretty interesting, and a lot of Oracle cards seem to have this kind of like theme, but there are some like Christian themes in these Oracle cards, which I think is really interesting, that a lot of tarot actually does involve a lot of Christian themes. See, look how fucking big these cards are. It's so hard for me to shuffle these because they're so big and my hands are so small. The other way I shuffle them is I use them like sideways like this instead of the correct way and just shuffle the corners. And then just kind of push them all in together like that. Not my favorite way to shuffle, but at least it's something. I've totally lost my train of thought because there was something beeping. I don't know what the fuck it was. So we had two separate cards fall out, which is interesting. We have, ooh, very different cards. We have the Earth Dragon and the Water Dragon. Earth Dragon clears your path and the land around you. Stay grounded, be ready to serve. Stuck energy is clearing, you can move forward. And then the Water Dragon helps you flow easily around obstacles. Christ's light and love are flowing. Develop your psychic abilities, go with the flow. Interesting. Moving forward on both of these. Also like clearing the path of obstacles. That's really interesting that these are very similar. This one did come with a little booklet. Oh, that's right. That's what I was saying before the beeping distracted me. I was gonna say the fairy one doesn't come with a booklet. These other two do come with a booklet, so we can read a little bit deeper about these cards. And a lot of these cards actually are not elemental themed. A lot of them are actually like space and like jewel theme. So it's really interesting that I did happen to get two elemental themed ones, and even the other ones that are element themed are like two or more elements. So it's very interesting that I got two elemental ones and both of them are like single element cards. What does that mean? I'm not sure. You'll need a better tarot reader to tell you that kind of information. So a little bit more depth about moving obstacles and moving forward in your life. Again, trying to clear obstacles, making really good progress. Okay, and now let's do the Water Dragon. Go with the flow, facing new challenges, moving forward with your life, getting rid of obstacles. Okay. There's also a theme of like relaxing and letting good things come to you, but still a very similar kind of energy as the Earth Dragon. So with our fairies telling us that we just need to believe in ourselves and there are good things coming to us, these two cards are giving similar kinds of thoughts. There are good things coming, obstacles have been moved out of the way, and we are moving forward onto a brighter future. This all feels very in line with the Emperor card that I drew for this year. So far, these tarot cards are telling me that 2025 is going to be a pretty good year for me. So that's going to sum up our oracle cards. So far, I'm sensing a very clear and direct message, honestly, which is not normally how tarot goes for me. Normally it's pretty confusing and hard to understand. But we're going to use the brighter weight cards now, which might be a little bit harder to understand because they usually are in my past experience. See, look how small that is. Perfect size for me. These also come with a little booklet. very helpful. I have used these cards so many times. I brought these cards to Italy and Japan with me. I love these cards so much. They actually fit in the palm of my hand, which is lovely. Now I kind of want to do a 3-card reading, past, present, future. I think that's a great tarot reading to do for a brand new year. What's past 2024? What should I be leaving behind? What's kind of over and done with 2024? Present day, more like in the turning of this new year, things I should focus on, ways to help me achieve things that I want in 2025. 3rd card, what's going to be the themes coming in the future. The way I do tarot, the way I've always done tarot, is just whatever falls out of the deck rather than trying to decide which one to pull out. To me, I don't think I could ever be truly random enough. So with physics and the shitty way I shuffle, deciding a card for me, that seems random enough for me. So our first card, we're gonna pull past. What do we need to leave in 2024? Thoughts on 2024. For the past, in 2024, we have the Tower, which is an interesting card to pull for the past, and I'm glad it's not in the future. Generally speaking, the Tower symbolizes a big and catastrophic change. Although no tarot card is strictly considered to be negative, a lot of people have certain cards that they really dislike drawing. The Tower is one of them. Again, the Tower is known for like big changes, normally with a negative connotation, like really big bad changes. That's not technically what this card means, but it is what most people associate it with. 3 of Swords, as we were talking about earlier, symbolizes heartbreak or just like moving on from a relationship. And then of course the Death card, a lot of people assume that means like horrible things. It usually just means the end of a cycle. But let's read a little bit more about Tower and kind of reflect on how 2024 was a Tower moment. Okay, the Tower. What you thought were solid foundations are crashing around you. Destruction and chaos are rampant. Know that these events are happening for you, not to you. New paradigms and opportunities are emerging. Interesting at the very end there that we talk again about how things are coming, how opportunities are happening. Even though we've had all these obstacles and difficulty in the past, things are changing now. Now for me, if I'm looking back at my 2024, how are these kinds of things a Tower moment? In all honesty, I think 2023 was truly one of my like true Tower years. It sucked pretty bad. My 2024 honestly was not as bad as my 2023. I did have a lot of difficulties and obstacles. I mean, that's just kind of life. I did change jobs a lot, mostly because every time I would get into a job, it turns out management fucking sucks. And here's the thing, I'm not gonna work for a place where they talk to me like I'm an idiot or like I'm a second-class citizen or they don't respect me. And unfortunately, people who get into management positions seem to only do that in order to treat people badly. So I am in fact starting a new job this coming new year. Almost immediately after the new year starts, I'll be starting a new job. And last year was incredibly hectic and confusing. I moved house. There was a breakdown of some friendships. There was a lot of being treated as if I wasn't worth shit, and then moving jobs because I'm not gonna stand being treated like that. So while I think 2023 was worse, 2024 definitely could have gone better. Next card is gonna be the present. Things I need to focus on now and in the next coming weeks in order to bring in the new year with some good energy. I love these cards and they're so easy to use. My only problem with them is they tend to stick together a lot, which is not my favorite. It's hard to get a single card to fall out when they all stick together. Oh, there we go. Hello? Ace of Wands. Again, I'm not like the best at tarot. I don't have every single card memorized. However, I do remember aces mean things like new beginnings, which is fun because this is a New Year's themed, and wands tend to represent creativity. So from my vaguest memory and definitely not having all these cards memorized, presently I think I need to work on opening myself up to new and creative ideas in order to achieve what I want to in the future. But let's go ahead and read our little booklet so we can get a more clear picture. You are highly motivated, energized, and filled with new ideas that inspire growth. A world of possibility is opening up. Follow your passion. Okay, interesting. We're still on theme with this idea of new things are coming. Follow your dreams. Follow this bright path in front of you. Reading this card, remembering that I drew it for the present. What do I need to be doing right now in my life? Definitely this idea of diving headfirst into things I want to do. Don't wait around. This is the new year, so a lot of people tend to do new things when the new year comes. So this is a good renewing energy type of time of year to go ahead and jump into things that I've wanted to do for a long time. I do think it is always good to keep in mind though that time is an illusion. Basically what I mean is you can do New Year's resolutions any time of year if you want to. You don't actually have to wait for the new year to do that. And I think that's always good for me to keep in mind. But then the problem with that is if no time is special, you don't feel like doing any change. It's that sense of of I can start anytime, so I'm not worried about it. When the new year gives kind of this idea of it is a special time of year, it does mean a lot to more people, and it does give me the chance to reflect and make changes in my life. Even though I technically could do that anytime in the year, this is kind of, again, just giving me that excuse to actually push for it. There are a lot of creative projects that I've been thinking about working on and brainstorming on the drive to work, or when I'm lying awake at night in bed, just kind of thinking about like projects and ideas and fun creative things I want to do. So I think this is kind of giving me that push of just go ahead and do it. The Oracle cards, as well as the Ace of Wands itself, are kind of telling me like your path is cleared, just go for it, go for what you want, things are gonna be okay. And does that mean I'm suddenly gonna be a bestseller if I decide to write a book? Of course not, that's not how life works. But I will never know, and I can never become somebody creatively fulfilled if I don't start the creative process. Last year did a lot of stifling of my creativity. I used to be a very active participant in NaNoWriMo, and then a lot of shit came out about the people who read NaNoWriMo, and I've been kind of lost. NaNoWriMo was a very good way to kind of force me to be creative, and without that push I just haven't, as well as just being generally busy. The job I've had for a really long time has been physically and mentally draining. I come home and just sleep unless I'm having a day off, and it just has not left a lot of room for me to be as creative as I would like to be. And maybe in the future I'll have a clearer path in order to pursue my creative passions that I really enjoy doing, just have not had the time or ability to do so. And now let's see about 2025. What's the future gonna be like? Oh, that came out fast. Ooh, okay. I'm happy about this one. I got Strength. Amazing card, honestly, that you're gonna pull for your future. Question is though, is this telling me I'm going to have strength or telling me I need to be strong? Because those are different. 2025, our theme is strength. Okay, let's see. I feel like strength is pretty self-explanatory, but let's see what our little book has to say about it. You have inner power and strength and lead using subtle influence and persuasion. You understand your animal instincts and express your raw power with courage and measured restraint. Okay, how do we read this all together? 2024 was a rough year, a lot of obstacles, a lot of like pushing down my creativity in order to try and make it. Now, with this changing of the tides, I really need to focus on pursuing my passions. Creativity is gonna open up for me, and we're gonna have this great path forward into the future where I can express my creativity. And then strength. It might not be easy. I might have to sit there and not force it, but make sure I'm putting in the work. If I want to be creatively fulfilled and be successful in the things I'm doing, I need to make sure I'm putting in effort. It's not going to be perfectly easy. Things are being cleared out of the way in order to help me on this, but when it all comes down to it, I'm the one in control of my own fate. I have plans for the future. It is my job to make sure they actually come true. I can't just make a plan and then sit back and say, okay, universe, do it for me. It's my job to make sure these things happen. I've been putting my creativity on the back burner because I need to survive. That's life. But maybe it's time, now that I'm getting a more stable job, a less physically taxing job, and a job that's more in line with a schedule that my boyfriend's on, I might actually now have time to sit down and enjoy my own creative fulfillment, as well as help myself psychologically, being able to spend more time with people I care about because I'm on a schedule that makes more sense. Even if the way is already cleared for me to have a great 2025, it is still necessary that I put in the work to make it the best it can be. This idea of not resting on your laurels to me feels very in line with the way I love to live my life. It also feels very in line with the Emperor, very much like you're in control now. You know, you're in charge. Make sure you do it correctly. Just because things are getting easier doesn't mean you need to relax. And don't take advantage of things being a little bit easier. I think this message is surprisingly clear. Like I said earlier, a lot of times I get very confusing and very contradictory tarot cards in the same reading, but this to me feels honestly very clear. My card of the year, my 2 oracle cards, as well as this reading all kind of come together to give me a similar message. I was already kind of feeling this sense of, you know, making big changes this year. Honestly though, not big changes, just more helpful changes to me, mentally, physically, spiritually. I'm not a very spiritual person, but that's kind of the reason I do tarot, to kind of do some self-reflection and make waves for my own future. I hope y'all enjoyed watching me do this very basic, very simple tarot reading. I hope you all had an amazing 2024 and have big hopes for 2025. I hope the world is just a smidge less crazy in 2025. Please, we all need a break. I hope you all enjoyed watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.